White Plains is a city in Westchester County, New York. It is the county seat and commercial hub of Westchester, an affluent suburban county that is home to almost 1 million people. Just north of New York City, White Plains is located in south-central Westchester, with its downtown about 7 miles east of the Hudson River and 7 miles northwest of the Long Island Sound. It is bordered to the north by the town of North Castle, to the north and east by the town-village of Harrison, to the south by the town-village of Scarsdale, and to the west by the town of Greenburgh. As of 2013, the city's total population was estimated to be 57,866, up from 56,853 at the 2010 census. According to the city government, the daytime weekday population is estimated at 250,000. The city was ranked third in the top 10 places to live in New York for 2014, according to national online real estate brokerage Movoto. History. Early history. At the time of the Dutch settlement of Manhattan in the early 17th century, the region had been used as farmland by the Wet'suwet'en tribe, members of the Mohican Nation, and was called Quaropa. To early traders it was known as the White Plains, either from the groves of white balsam which are said to have covered it, or from the heavy mist that local tradition suggests hovered over the swamplands near the Bronx River. The first non-native settlement came in November 1683, when a party of Connecticut Puritans moved westward from an earlier settlement in Rye and bought about 4,400 acres, presumably from the Wet'suwet'en. However, John Richbell of Mamaroneck claimed to have earlier title to much of the territory through his purchase of a far larger plot extending 20 miles inland, perhaps from a different tribe. The matter wasn't settled until 1721, when a royal patent for White Plains was granted by King George II. In 1758, White Plains became the seat of Westchester County when the colonial government for the county left Westchester, which was located in what is now the northern part of the borough of the Bronx, in New York City. The unincorporated village remained part of the town of Rye until 1788, when the town of White Plains was created. On July 9, 1776, a copy of the Declaration of Independence was delivered to the New York Provincial Congress, which was meeting in the county courthouse. The delegates quickly adopted a resolution approving the declaration, thus declaring both the colony's independence and the formation of the state of New York. The declaration itself was first publicly read from the steps of the courthouse on July 11. During September and October 1776, troops led by George Washington took up positions in the hills of the village, hotly pursued by the British under General Sir William Howe, who attacked on October 28. The Battle of White Plains took place primarily on Chatterton Hill and the Bronx River. Howe's force of 4,000–6,000 British and Hessian soldiers required 3 attacks before the Continentals, numbering about 1,600 under the command of Generals Alexander McDougall and Israel Putnam, retreated, joining Washington's main force, which did not take part in the battle. Howe's forces had suffered 250 casualties, a severe loss, and he made no attempt to pursue the Continentals, whose casualties were about 125 dead and wounded. 3 days after the battle, Washington withdrew north of the village. This was then occupied by Howe's forces, but after several inconclusive skirmishes over the next week, Howe withdrew on November 5, leaving White Plains to the Continentals. Ironically, one of Washington's subordinates, Major John Austin, who was probably drunk after having celebrated the enemy's withdrawal, re-entered the village with his detachment and proceeded to burn it down. Although he was court-martialed and convicted for this action, he escaped punishment. The first United States Census, conducted in 1790, listed the White Plains population at 505, of whom 46 were slaves. By 1800, the population stood at 575 and 1830, 830. By 1870, 26 years after the arrival of the New York Central Railroad, it had swollen to 2,630 and by 1890 to 4,508. In the decades that followed, the count grew to 7,899 and 26,425. White Plains was incorporated as a village in 1866 and as a city in 1916. Modern history. Early in the 20th century, White Plains' downtown area developed into a dominant suburban shopping district and featured branch stores of many famous New York-based department and specialty stores. Some of these retail locations were the first large-scale suburban stores built in the United States, and ushered in the eventual post-World War II building boom. With the construction of the parkways and expressways in the 1940s and 1960s, White Plains' role as a destination retail location was only enhanced. With a city opening ceremony, Macy's launched a grand White Plains store on Main Street across from City Hall in 1949. As the mayor said at the time, this was a significant event in the life of White Plains. Other stores later followed, such as B. Altman & Co., Rogers Pete, Saks Fifth Avenue, Alexander's, Wallach's, and a short-lived branch of Bergdorf Goodman, which was later converted to sister chain, Neiman Marcus, in 1981. White Plains is still a huge retail destination in the area, with Bloomingdale's, Neiman Marcus, Nordstrom Rack, Macy's, Walmart, Burlington Coat Factory, and over 1,000 other small and mid-sized stores in 4 malls. During the late 1960s, the city of White Plains developed an extensive urban renewal plan for residential, commercial and mixed-use redevelopment that effectively called for the demolition of its entire central business district from the Bronx River Parkway east to Mamaroneck Avenue. By 1978, the urban renewal program centered around the construction of the Westchester County Courthouse, the Westchester One office building, the Galleria at White Plains Mall, and a number of other office towers, retail centers, and smaller commercial buildings. Beginning in the 1950s, many major corporations based in New York City relocated operations to White Plains and other nearby locations. These included General Foods, PepsiCo, Hitachi USA, IBM, Nestlé, Snapple, and Heineken USA. At the height of the 1980s, at least 50 Fortune 500 corporations called Westchester County and nearby Fairfield County, CT, home. But with the corporate mergers and downsizing of the 1990s, many of these companies either reduced their operations in White Plains or left the area completely. White Plains continues to attract regional and national business as well as international headquarters within its boundaries, such as 9 West Group, Allegiance Financial, ITT Corporation, Nokia, Heineken USA, AllianceBernstein, AT&T, and Verizon. White Plains is also home to the Arts Exchange Building, which serves as the headquarters of the Westchester Arts Council. Since March 1999, visual and performing artists, emerging cultural organizations, and new creative businesses have studios and offices in the building. It is listed on the National Register of Historic Places. The construction of the Galleria at White Plains Mall in the 1970s ushered in a new era of downtown retail and office development. But by the early 1990s, economic development had stagnated, hampered by a deep recession and the overbuilding of the commercial real estate markets. For a time, White Plains had the dubious distinction of having one of the highest office vacancy rates in the Northeast. Consolidation within the retail industry led to the closing of many of downtown's original department and specialty stores as well. After its bankruptcy, the B. Altman store closed in 1989 and was eventually demolished to make way for the massive upscale retail mall, the Westchester, which opened in 1995 with anchors Nordstrom and Neiman Marcus. A freestanding branch of Macy's, one of downtown's original retail anchor stores. was relocated 2 blocks away to the Galleria Mall by its parent company, Federated Department Stores, replacing the location of sister retailer, Abraham and Straus, when these two store divisions were merged in 1995. In early 2002, the Saks Fifth Avenue location was also closed and demolished. It was replaced in 2004 with a large retail complex called The Source at White Plains, featuring the upscale restaurants Morton's of Chicago, the Cheesecake Factory, and the gourmet supermarket chain Whole Foods Markets. Note: as of July 20, 2009, the Fortunoff and Mayrock families reacquired the Fortunoff brand and intellectual property. All Fortunoff stores are currently closed. Other major projects were completed in the late 1990s and early 2000s that have further altered the urban character of downtown White Plains. A new courthouse for the Southern District of New York was opened in 1998, and several large-scale office properties in and near downtown, including the former General Foods headquarters building, were retrofitted and leased to accommodate smaller businesses. The Macy's store on Main Street remained vacant for several years until it was also later demolished to make way for the massive city center at White Plains complex. This large mixed-use development features two 35-story apartment in condominium towers, 600,000 square foot of retail, restaurant and entertainment space, and new parking facilities. Aside from the Arts Exchange building, another bank next to the city center was renovated to become Zanaro's, a family-style Italian restaurant. In 2010, Zanaro's closed and was replaced by Buffalo Wild Wings. City Center's opening in 2003 marked the beginning of a new downtown development renaissance, and with the improving economy and healthy office leasing activity, White Plains entered the new millennium as the leading retail and office center in Westchester County. In 2005, construction began on a second large parcel in the downtown area. The project, known as Renaissance Square, features 2 residential and hotel towers, each 40 stories tall, features a luxury Ritz-Carlton hotel and more than 400 condominium units. The Ritz-Carlton Westchester is one of the tallest buildings between New York City and Boston, exceeded only by City Place in Hartford. Beginning in 2000, the city's permanent population experienced a growth spurt as additional apartment buildings were constructed. The city's relatively moderate housing costs and close commuting distance to Midtown Manhattan have also attracted a lot of people who commute to New York City for work. However, in large part because of its proximity to New York, the cost of living in White Plains, although lower than that of New York City itself, is by some measures among the highest in the world. Geography and cityscape. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, White Plains has a land area of 9.77 square miles, and a population density of 5,820.3 inhabitants per square mile. Climate. White Plains has a humid continental climate, with 4 distinct seasons. Winter is cold and moderately snowy, with an average January temperature of 29.1 degrees Fahrenheit, and summer is warm and humid, with a mean July temperature of 73.5 degrees Fahrenheit. In spring and fall, temperatures can fluctuate widely, but are usually mild and comfortable. Precipitation is plentiful and evenly spread out through the year, with measurable rain or snow falling on just under 1/3 of days. The city receives approximately 234 clear or partly cloudy days per annum, with October typically being the sunniest month, averaging more than 70% of possible sunshine. White Plains is within the USDA Hardiness Zone 7A. The lowest temperature ever recorded in White Plains since record-keeping began was -14 degrees Fahrenheit, and the highest ever was 102 degrees Fahrenheit. The mean date of the first freeze is October 26, and the mean date of the last freeze is April 17. Over the course of a typical year, there are 25 days where the temperature fails to rise above freezing and one sub-zero night. On the other side of the spectrum, there are 9 days of at least 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Tallest buildings neighborhoods White Plains has 35 neighborhoods. Battle Hill, Bryant Gardens, Carhart, Colonial Corners, Downtown White Plains, East White Plains, Eastview, Ferris Avenue, Fisher Hill, Fulton Street, Gedney Farms, Gedney Manor, Gedney Meadows, Gedney Park, Green Acres, Haviland Manor, Highlands, Holbrook, Idle Forest, North Broadway, North Street, North White Plains, DeKalb, Old Mamaroneck Road, Prospect Park, Raynell Park, Ridgeway, Rocky Dell, Rosedale, Saxon Woods, Secor Gardens, Soundview, Westminster Ridge, Wimbrook, Woodcrest Heights, Parks and Recreation Ebersole Ice Rink, Maplemore Golf Course. Saxon Woods Park provides a range of recreational amenities, including trails, a standard and miniature golf course, and the largest swimming pool in Westchester. Silver Lake Preserve, Westchester Golf Range. Economy. The economy of White Plains revolves around large companies that have relocated to the city such as ITT, Xylem, Bunge & Coombe. Other companies based in White Plains include AllianceBernstein, Dannon, Fifth Street Finance Corp., the New York Power Authority, New York Presbyterian Hospital, Crasdale Foods, 9 West, Acadia Realty Trust and AboveNet, as well as the U.S. headquarters of Heineken. At the turn of the second millennium, there was a boom in commercial businesses and residential living, and as a result the city's infrastructure grew substantially, with 2 double towers, being 40-plus stories and both being high-end apartments. At one time Prodigy had its headquarters in White Plains Plaza in White Plains. In 2000 the company announced that it would move its headquarters to Austin, Texas. Non-profits based in White Plains include the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society and the March of Dimes. Fire Department. The city of White Plains is protected 24/7, 365 by the 140 paid, professional firefighters of the City of White Plains Fire Bureau, part of the Department of Public Safety, but commonly referred to as the Fire Department. The White Plains Fire Department is currently the 7th largest fire department in the state of New York. The WPFD currently operates out of 5 fire stations, located throughout the city, under the command of a deputy chief per shift. The WPFD also operates a frontline fire apparatus fleet of 5 engines, 3 ladders, 1 rescue, and numerous other special, support, and reserve units. Fire station locations and apparatus. Below is a complete listing of all fire station and company locations in the city of White Plains. Fire headquarters is located at 219 Mamaroneck Avenue. The Fire Prevention Division is also located at 20 Ferris Avenue. The WPFD operates a spare fire apparatus fleet of 3 engines and 1 ladder. All spare apparatus are stored at the quarters of Engine 66, Tower Ladder 6 at 20 Ferris Avenue. The WPFD also utilizes a decommissioned fire station at 232 S. Lexington Avenue. As the quarters of Utility 1, the WPFD Collapse Rescue Unit and the Special Operations Division. This former firehouse is also the main storage facility for White Plains Unified Special Operations Command, which the WPFD is a part of. There is also a volunteer division within the WPFD that takes part in parades and events. They operate out of another decommissioned fire station at Harding Avenue and Robertson Avenue. ISO Class 1. The White Plains Fire Department has been recently labeled as an ISO Class 1 fire department, making it one of only 5 of its kind in the northeastern United States. Being a Class 1 fire department means that the WPFD provides the maximum amount of fire protection to the area it serves, thus lowering property, home and commercial insurance rates for the city's residents and business owners. Sports. White Plains is home to the Westchester Knicks of the National Basketball Association Development League. They began play in the 2014-2015 season. Education. Public schools. The White Plains public school system, with a 2006 enrollment of over 6,000 pupils, maintains 5 elementary schools, 2 middle schools and 1 high school, as well as auxiliary facilities, including a pre-kindergarten program, a community school, adult and continuing education, and a program for school-age patients at New York Presbyterian Hospital, whose campus is located in the city. Since 1988, the district has operated under a controlled Parents' Choice program, whereby the parents of elementary and middle school children can select the school which their child attends based on factors other than proximity to the school. The 5 elementary schools, and to a lesser extent, the 2 middle schools, in addition to teaching core competencies, have different educational focuses including science and technology, communication arts and global understanding. The primary distinction between the 2 middle schools is the number of pupils enrolled. The smaller, Eastview campus has about 1/3 the number of students as the Highlands campus. There are about 1,100 students at Highlands and only about 400 at Eastview. As of 2014 this has changed. Now 6th graders entirely at Eastview and 7th and 8th go to Highlands White Plains Senior High School. Built in the late 1950s on a 72-acre campus, serves all public school students in grades 9 to 12. The school has a swimming pool that overlooks a small valley which included the track and football field. The White Plains Recreation Department worked in cooperation with the schools to offer many programs. The district is governed by a 7-member Board of Education, elected at large for staggered 3-year terms. A school superintendent reports to the board. Parochial and or private schools. Archbishop Stepinich High School on Mamaroneck Avenue in the Gedney area. Academy of Our Lady of Good Counsel on North Broadway, adjacent to the Pace University campus. Good Counsel Academy Elementary School on North Broadway. Our Lady of Sorrows Elementary School in the Gedney area. German School New York on Partridge Road. Solomon Schechter School of Westchester Lower School. Colleges and universities. Fordham University Westchester campus is home to Fordham's graduate schools of business administration, education, social service, and religious education. Pace University White Plains campus is home to Pace University School of Law and Pace Graduate School. This campus originally belonged to Good Counsel College, later named the College of White Plains. The College of White Plains merged with Pace University in 1976. The College of Westchester, formerly known as the Westchester Business Institute. Berkeley College. Mercy College.